and welcome to this webinar, which is dedicated to digital neuromarketing. There are all the contents on the digital hub of the Euro-Emotour project about neuromarketing, what it is, which kind of approach it uses. So you can find information on this on other webinars here on the digital hub of the project. In particular, this webinar is dedicated on exploring how neuromarketing analysis and neuromarketing also solution can help you to improve the user experience on your website, and therefore also to improve the direct revenue your website is able to produce for you. We are going to do this by using some examples from the neuromarketing analysis we conducted on the websites of tourist businesses which were part of the Euro-Emotour project. Specifically, in the case of Cheez-It, we analyzed 21 tourist businesses websites from tourist travel agents, hospitality business, and so on. And we use these kind of examples to underline some of the most common problems you can find in tourist business websites. In this way, we hope that what we are going to show you now would help you also to verify if you find the same kind of problems or mistakes on your own website, and so you can then use the information you have here to then go and improve your website itself. And also our goal is to show you the potential of neuromarketing analysis conducted on tourist websites, because some of the issues we are going to explore now can be detected on your website only using this kind of analysis. So if you have this kind of issue, it's not really the fault of your web agency, maybe because sometimes just using this kind of analysis you can really spot these kind of problems. For this kind of analysis, we use a neuromarketing technique which is called eye tracking. Eye tracking is a technique that allows us to follow the gaze of the user on a surface. It might be a picture, it might be a page, and in our case, of course, it is a web page, both in the desktop version of the website and on the mobile version of the website itself. In particular, the eye tracking technique allows us to understand what a person really sees of an environment, or of an image, or of a page. In fact, we think that when we watch at one of these objects, we see it all together, but it's not really like that. The reality is that our gaze, our eyes, focus on a specific spot and then jump to another spot, and in this way they provide the brain the information it needs to reconstruct what is the whole picture. To do this, the brain, of course, uses the information the eyes provides, but to make it quicker, make the reconstruction of the full environment quicker, it uses the previous experience to reconstruct what the gaze really didn't focus on. So basically what we think we see is not the whole environment, but some reconstruction made by the brain using the information provided by the eyes and some kind of patch here and there coming from previous experiences of navigating on a website, of being in a similar environment. So sometimes we think that our users don't like our offers because they didn't click on it, or they are not happy with the prices because they don't seem to click on the room with a specific kind of price, and so on. But what we discover often with neuromarketing analysis and a user eye tracker is that simply the user didn't see the offer, they didn't focus on the price, they didn't focus on your call to action, and so on. Because it is in the wrong color, because it is placed in an area of the website which was not really explored by the gaze, but just patched up by the brain on the basis of previous information. So it's basically a kind of blur, in a kind of blur area. What an eye tracker shows us in terms of representation of the movements and of the focus of the gaze on a surface are different kinds of representations. In our case, we are going to use a couple. One is the gaze plot. The gaze plot allows us to follow the path the gaze follows on the web page, and this part is represented with balls, and these balls represent the points where the gaze focuses on. And then with lines, and the lines represents the points where the gaze doesn't focus on, but where it jumps on to focus on another specific spot. And the other representation we are going to use are the heat maps. In the case of the heat maps, what is underlined is where is the focus. So where the user's gaze stopped, and where it stopped the longer time. The longer the time we focus on a specific item on the web page, the surer we are that the users really understood the information there. We chose to focus our attention on three kind of issues that we often found on the tourist business websites, both in the case of the Euro and Motour project businesses and also in other cases we explored in the past. The first of these issues is typical really of tourist businesses website, and is the problem of too much information. Too much information is a problem for the consumer because both neuroscience and consumer neuroscience and behavioral economics have studied that if we are in a situation when we have too much choice in a way or too much information, our brains tends to give up. There is too much data in a way to process. And in this case, it might be easier for the brain to completely give up on the task and really maybe change website or find another solution. Is the kind of sensation sometimes we have, for example, when we are going to need another mobile phone, another apparel for our house, and we have so many possibilities, so much information, so many choices, that we have that impression that in order to really choose well, we would need to give up our job for a couple of months. This kind of sensation is really bad for the consumer because it means that you are putting them in a bad spot, on a bad spot, and they might decide to give up. In particularly in the case of tourist websites, this problem can translate into two kinds of situations or aspects. The first one is the long tests. Tourist businesses often have a lot of information they need to provide to their clients in terms of the kind of services they offer, in terms of the different kinds of rooms, the different kinds of tours, experiences, activities, information about the destination, and so on. So there is a lot of content on a tourist website, and this often translates in very long text. We see here an example. In this case, it is a description of the services provided by the operator. And you can see here that the user starts by reading the whole text at the very beginning of this, and we can observe this. We see the gaze plot representation, and you can really see that it stops on the words and reads the whole text. At some point, however, it is too much, and it starts to give up on that, and goes back to the menu and tries to find other solution for this. Often, in the case of tourist business websites, to this long test, in this long test, we tend to describe very important aspects of the business itself. For example, the value proposition, for example, the kinds of value we identify with, and that makes the difference between us and our competitors. For example, if that we keep in mind sustainability while organizing the travels, or that we have a specific policy for the environment, or so on. So very important aspects of the business, and if they are communicated through long tests, the risk is that basically our users are not going to get this kind of information, although it is very important for us. We see here another kind of example. In this case, our users are exploring the different rooms and possibility offered by the restaurant of an hotel. And again, we see that it starts to read the text really at the beginning, and then as they scroll down, the users read less and less, and then they basically give up. Another case where usually we found a longer tests, very long tests, is in the case of travel agents, the description of the tours or the activities or the visits. And here we have an example, the big bunch of tests provided on a web page, so even harder to read for the eyes than a paper page. And of course, the idea is that we want to provide all the information, but basically what happens here is that the users are not reading. And this is also This is even worse in the case of mobile, not the mobile version of the website, because on the desk version, maybe something ends up to be in red, but on the mobile version, and you can see an example here, we tend not to read, and you can see here on the representation of the gaze plot, which is, and it is very clear that the user here is jumping from one point of the other to the other of the screen, and is not reading anything of the text in the center of the screen. So basically, whatever was written here has not been registered in any way. The second way, the second aspect where we find the issue of too much information is in what I call the vertigo of the list. Tourist business websites tend to have very, very long lists of services, long lists of rooms, long list of tours, long lists of activities, and so on. It's very difficult for the users often to navigate this kind of lists. We see here what happens, for example, in the case of an hotel. Here you see from the heat map that the user attention focuses on the main title, on other aspects of the bigger part of the text. But then there is the list, for the beginning of the list of the different kind of rooms, with just usual differentiation, the picture and the user differentiation, double standard, and so on under it. And you can see that the user is basically not focusing there, because the heat map represents just green and some yellow color, so very, very cold color. It means that the gaze didn't stop there, but only on the main title, where you see the red representation. On the other picture, parallel to this, you see how you can solve this kind of problem by providing, for example, some more information about the room using icons, providing directly there a kind of call to action in order to help the user navigate through this list. There is another example here from again from an hospitality website. Again, different kind of accommodation, not rooms, but it's a different kind of accommodation. They have also different kinds of names, but the names are not descriptive of the differences between one accommodation and the others. The pictures are not that different, and again, you see these gaze plots that tells us that the user's gaze just jumped from one point to another, but didn't really stop anywhere, because they basically don't have any kind of navigator to understand how to move through this kind of lists. Here we have another example. In this case is again a list of tools, and we see it is becoming usual, this kind of pattern of the gaze plots, when you can see clearly that they are moving randomly through the surface, but not really spotting much, except maybe for the book now button, but book what? Because if they look all the same. And in this case, how do we solve this kind of problem? One solution are the filters. Sometimes we associate filters just with big e-commerce websites, but in the case of the tourist businesses, Usually even a very small one tends to provide a lot of content and a lot of information. So it might be better if you realize you are providing lots of content to start to think if it might be useful to have filters on the website. Another solution comes from neuromarketing itself, and it's called nudge. A nudge is a nudge in the right direction for your user. In this case, for example, we see the same website we just saw. The nudge is provided through a label which says this is the most loved tour. So and all the kind of levels might be the one preferred by couples, there is only a few of them, the one preferred by families, and so on. But all these kind of labels help your users, if you have a long list, to navigate through the list. It differentiates each item in a way from the other. Of course, you don't have to lie about this, about labels, but you can use information, for example, on what is the most sold product, to help the user navigate the list. In the case of long tests, the solution is, of course, try to reduce the test, really think what are the information that are really needed for your users when they get to the website, and maybe you just want to explore what the experience is, and then provide the information on more information on a second step. And then try to give breadth in a way to the text, use bullet points, use icons to substitute text when you can for the services, for example, and use bold characters in order to really help them spot what is the essential part of the text, and provides paragraph of 4 or 5 lines, and then separates the second part in order to help them read through. Another problem, another issue we found on many websites is the problem of the invisible, not visible call to action. This derives from the fact that when we design the websites, of course we tend to harmonize the colors, which is quite correct, of course. But sometimes this harmonization goes a little bit overboard, and it ends up confusing the various buttons and the importance we give to each of these buttons. We have an example here from travel agents, again, online travel agents in this case, and you can see here that basically the call to action, which is a search there, is more or less on the same color of the picture behind it. And you see from the gaze plot, you see from the heat map that the user's attention focuses on the main title. It focuses on the brand, but you see that around the search, so around the call to action, there is just modest green area, which tell us that the level of focus and attention on that area was not that much. So basically the call to action has not been seen in this phase. Same problem here for, in this case, we have an hospitality business. Again, we have the red color on the value proposition and on and on the picture at the center of the homepage. So there is a lot of attraction, and in this case the call to action, which is on the higher right side of the web page, is basically not seen. You see there is no kind of color around it. It means that basically the users didn't see the book call to action. In this case, for example, they might get the impression that it's not possible to book on your website. Of course, the users don't need to use the button, the call to action immediately, but they need to know it is there. And they can do this kind of thing on your website. Another situation with another kind of pictures or layout and solution for the home page, but you see in this case we have a gaze plot as a representation, but you see again that the attention is attracted by the picture completely, and the call to action, which is again on the right upper side of the web page, attracts absolutely no attention. So again, they might think that it's not possible to book in a way. So this is another kind of problem sometimes, so that we want to have a very good looking website and an impression of harmony between colors, but sometimes we go overboard and the call to action is not visible. So be very mindful about that. Of course, you don't need to put it in a completely contrasting color, but in a color that makes it stand out from the background. Another problem that we found out while analyzing is the tourist business websites using neuromarketing techniques is a typical neuromarketing case, a textbook case in a way for neuromarketing, which is the problem of the attention attracted by human faces. As humans, if in whatever environment, the first thing we tend to focus on, if there are other people, are other people's faces. This is automatic for us. We do it independently. Even chimpanzees do this independently. First thing you look at, other people's faces. Of course, because this allows you to assess what's the situation. Are they all happy? Are they tense? Or so on. There's some kind of danger there, and so on. So this is automatic. Your user can help it. Okay. In this case, we see here a list of tools represented by different images of the destination, and you see that all the destinations are represented by landscapes or maybe animals pictures, but we have just one where there are people represented in. And of course, you see from here, from the gaze plot, that the first focus, the red ball with a 1 inside it, it goes on the only face you have in this list. Another textbook case, in a way, here we found there is a picture of a person, and the person is looking up. Again, you see on the left the website as it was. So you have the picture of the person, and under it the call to action, our services. And you see from the heat map that the big focus red areas goes on the face, of course, and in particular on the eyes of the person. And then where is the call to action? So under the pictures, there's no attention at all. So in this case, it would be better to move the call to action on top of the picture in order to use the attention attracted to that area by the fact that the person is looking up. You can see that in the area on top of the picture, there is still a green pattern depicted by the heat map, which means that a part of the attention went there. So it would be better to put the call to action on that part of the web page and not under the picture. Be very mindful of people's faces, how you placement on the web page, and if you really want to attract attention to that specific product, that specific area of the website where the people's face is, because automatically it will be led there. So don't do it in an unaware way. And that was the last example for this short excursus on some of the issues, on some of the also some of the solution we found out by using neuromarketing analysis on tourist businesses' websites. So we hope this really helps you on the one side to understand how neuromarketing works, and particularly how much it can tell you of your website and of your users, and also how to what to look at on your own website, and how you can improve some kind of issues if you find them there.